So if you go straight,
Oh, really?
you go up the hill, and it went up about 8-9 feet up on that hill. Russell was loving it. So in other words, all the buildings down in the lower part, the water was up about 4 foot from the ceiling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, whenever you get the chance, Ryan said he's ready to come on in.
Well, tell him to come on in.
I don't know if he heard me or not.
Tell Ryan to come on in.
I said he's ready to come on in. Yeah, I'm getting feedback now. Yeah, you was talking about language and everything. Me and Daniel had a pretty good discussion about stuff like that. So hopefully we'll have something to talk about tonight.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a debate because when the comments I made last night, the comments that I said today on my phone, I think it gives them a good idea. Let's have a debate.
Well, that's what me and Daniel had. We had a pretty healthy debate today and everything, and it got to the point where my brain was starting to literally hurt.
Cool. Hold on.
All right, everybody, we are now live. Welcome to another episode of the ECBRO Live and Uncut Podcast Show. All right, we got a little bit bigger panel tonight. So we got Fred Canny, we got Nikki Cologne, Zach Starrick, and me, Daniel Benoit. All right, I am going to be paying attention to the live chat tonight to the best of my ability. I know Nikki and Zach, you guys help keep an eye on the live chat sometimes too, which helps out. Sometimes I overlook stuff and miss stuff on there, but
bring Ryan on too. He's waiting to come on.
He's got the link. I don't know what his problem is.
No.
I sent so it's up to him to do a click. I don't know. If he needs it sent directly, I mean it's the same thing as what I sent everybody in the group chat. All right. Give me 1 second.
I thought I'd
go ahead,
throw it
Zach.
out there because I was trying to tell you, but you kept muting yourself and taking off. I got the job today with that mowing job.
Oh, yeah?
I start tomorrow.
Is that for the one that's the lady that does the real estate, or
the wildlife rehab? Yeah, I looked
Oh,
at her
yeah,
place
that's what
that
I mean.
she's got a neat setup out there. She's basically got a little zoo.
Alright, let's see what Ryan's doing. I sent it to him directly too this time, so Ryan, come on in. You messaged the group chat here. Only we can see that group chat, Fred. Yeah, that's just for us in here, not the viewers or anybody. That way, if we have to say something amongst ourselves without the viewers, it's basically it's just the live chat or the group chat in here just for our privacy. So, all right. So, but yeah, I sent him the link and everything. All right, where did I do my phone? Oh, here we go. So for those tuning in, again, if you guys are new to watching this, you can interact through the live chat. If you are on your phone, the live chat is usually directly below where you're viewing. If you're on your laptop or desktop, it is on your top right-hand corner from where you're viewing. So, give me a second. Let me get to the live chat on my phone here. All right. I'm getting there. Just bear with me.
Yeah, who do you know they walk around carrying a box of loaded shells in their truck?
Oh.
I can tell you one person. I can tell you one person that did was my first fiance I had. She rode around in that big old Ford pickup of hers, and she had a loaded shotgun and a box of shells in her console. scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, we got quite a few people on the live chat already. Awesome.
Who all we got?
Well, there's same ones that have been following us the last few days. Reverb Twang, Matthew Cleese, Bobcat Wong, Donald Trussell. We got a new one called Super Ad Blocker. That's pretty cool. And that's the only. Oh, Taylor and Tate from North Carolina State. Squatch Watchers. They're on.
Watch Watchers, what's up, boys?
Yep. Very cool. Very cool. So, Nikki, why are you
getting
yawning?
bored.
Are you
I
tired?
know. I just got sleepy all of a sudden. Come on, let's get with it.
You need to go get your some coffee like Fred does.
I know. Well, I just had dinner. That's why I'm sleepy now.
See, look, Fred's got his coffee.
American Cup.
Oh
Ladies and
my
gentlemen.
God, your phone is horrible.
Yeah, I want to apologize again for everybody. If you guys start complaining again, it's on Zach.
It's Zach's fault.
Poor Zach. Sorry for the children that are viewing this, but you see, he don't know his manners. His mother will deal with him later.
She's already vegging out. She had a long day at school today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's got to go to Krispy Kreme in the morning and pick up donuts that she sold.
All right. Well, see, there's been a few things I've been taking note of, and I've been, seeing other people talk about a few things. There's a couple things we're going to get into tonight. One of the things there's some questions I wrote down. 'Cause these are, I know you guys got to see some of the posts floating around from other people in the different groups and everything. There's some of these questions. I wrote these down. The topics I wrote them in form of questions, and a lot of these we've been in discussions. We've been in these things numerous times, and sometimes we it's good to we got a little bit different lineup than what we've had in the what we've had over with these discussions. So what we might hear is a different opinions, which is great because that's what the listeners want to hear. It gives everybody something to consider, maybe draw a different conclusion. Um, one of the things is here, and this is going to be an interesting one. All right, basically, I have it written down. This first question is, what is Bigfoot? Is Bigfoot an ape, alien, or human? Who wants to jump on that one? I see Fred coming forward.
I'm keeping my mouth shut right now.
Okay. Okay. Zach, Nikki?
I
Go
had
for
my
it,
hand
Zach.
up. Well, I honestly don't know. Like I say it all the time. There's like especially whenever you put in your book a couple years ago. There's so many theories out there that they go and they say they're hard believers on on the creature could be, but yet you go and you look at the habits that they're reporting and everything, and it contradicts everything.
Yeah.
If I was to say anything, I would go and say it was a relic hominid. That's where I'm more leaning to.
All right. Hey, not to interrupt you. Try to see if you could rearrange where your phone's sitting. Maybe the wires might cause. Like when you're talking, the static is like getting really loud.
Who, me?
Yeah. Now, when you pause, it's gone. It's not there when you pause, but like when you talk, maybe try to reposition yourself. It could have something to do with interference with your vehicle. I'm not really sure.
I think it's just his headphones.
Oh, it might just be.
I don't know. I just bought this headset last week or two.
Okay. Um. I'm looking at the live chat. Well, there are. That's not a. Somebody has asked the question related to what we just what we're looking at right now.
All right,
Just
I'll go ahead and say something.
all right.
In 1991, when I was working for NIH, that's National Institute of Health in Rockland, Maryland, we were government contracting. I was contracted to the DNA department. Went home on the weekend, went researching, found hair, blood, and saliva. The saliva was on a morel mushroom that was thrown at me. Took to NIH. I give it to one of the guys there who does DNA, and I told him, I said, find out what this is for me. He said, what is this? I said, I'll tell you if it's correct. Now, he did. 3 days later, he gives me a sheet of paper. And I said, what's it say? He says, it's 98% human. He said, okay. I said, okay. He says, 2% Neanderthal. I said, all right. Now, people say, how come they look like a Neanderthal? All right. An ape has a low headline. A Sasquatch has a high headline, thick brow lines, thick cheekbones, thick jawbones. I got photographs of one in particular, and you're looking at a Neanderthal. All right. The other thing is they have family units. Now, I call them clans. We got 5 clans around my camp. They cross the road. Right now, they're all migrated, so we don't see them anymore right now. But the main part is that these creatures are the only creatures besides Cro-Magnons, which we are. We are Cro-Magnons. I've heard non-human language. The only non-human language I know is dogs, cats, birds, crickets. That's non-human language. Human language, to speak a language, you have to have vocal cords. Humans have vocal cords. Sasquatch has vocal cords. They speak a language. Now, a lot of people today were saying that they hear clicking and mouth popping and everything like that. All
Yeah,
right,
I seen that.
I talked to Sharon Day, and she says that they use the clicks and mouth pops and everything while they're talking to kind of like camouflage their language. Now, Ryan Redding has got audio of them speaking English. We've heard behind my camp, we've heard native singing, we've heard native talking, we've heard English being spoken. Now, people say they mimic. Sasquatches don't mimic words, they speak it. It's rough, I grant you, it's rough as holy hell, but they still speak English. And because, like humans, they have vocal cords, so that makes them human. Now, when it comes to talking about unknown language, there are over 90 native tribes extinct today in America that nobody knows about or done forgotten about. In my region of the in Ryan Redding's area, he's got I think the land of the land of 37 tribes or something like that. My region, Kentucky and North Carolina and Tennessee and all them, is the Cherokee. Now, you hear Cherokee dialect, like you hear me say on my videos when I go out, you hear me say OCO, Ia, Niha. All right, that's ancient Cherokee dialect. Like OCO means hello, Iya means I'm your friend, and Niha means I mean you no harm. All right, that is ancient dialect language that, from what I've learned, only the shamans or the elders in the tribes speak. And every in my area, every language I hear what I hear them speaking, even though it's jibber jabber, you take and you slow it down. Now, Davis give me the idea on what he did. He slowed it 50%, and you could start to understand a language. Well, if you take and add 10% on each time up to 98, you get to the point where you hear the language completely. It might not be English, but it'd be a native language. It might not be English. It might be. It could be a tribe that is in extinct, like the what's that word? Uh,
Chimicum.
yeah, Chumucum
Yeah.
tribe. All right, they went extinct in 1902, but their tribes in the 1700s was up over 10 million in the North Peninsula of Washington State. They were massacred and they went into extinction. Their language, last night I found a 20-second audio of the language they spoke, and I wish I could find it because I was piddling around when I was listening to it, and I went back to another link to write it down to come back to it, and I lost it. But the
Yeah. That.
language, but the language that I was hearing from that little audio clip sound almost identical to what Ron Moorhead has. You know,
Yeah, that language you're speaking about. Actually, the last documented use or of that language was actually left over in the that ran into the 1940s. There was actually a few of them left over that used that language, but it
yeah,
was, as they described, imperfect. It was kind of broken.
yeah,
It wasn't as pure as what it once was when they started
exactly,
using it. Yeah.
exactly.
So.
But the number one native language that is spoken in the United States right now, and it's dwindling away, is the Navajo. They're number one for the most spoken language in the United States, and Cherokee is number seven. You know,
Well,
so
before we go any further, now you mentioned Ryan, we got Ryan Reedon with us. Because I'm unfamiliar with his recordings. Ryan, I was wondering if you could share that with us. You said you have a recording where you picked up English speaking, right?
Well, it seems that way, as far as the way it sounded.
Hmm. Now, how long ago was this?
Oh, God. I'm going to say 2016.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't familiar with that because okay. Hmm.
I mean, the way when he sent it to us, it was rough. I mean, it was rough. Like, get right, ready, like that. But they still spoke English. I mean, broken up, you know. But we had to listen to it like 3 or 4 times, and then we got it, you know.
Yeah.
But they do speak it, and to speak a language, you have to have vocal cords
To
to
me,
speak it.
it almost seemed like as if when you're very primitive, let's say, and your dialect isn't up to par.
Exactly.
Like we have sentences and phrases, nouns, verbs, whatever. It's almost like they have this. It's definitely non-constructive. Let's say it's just like syllables, and the way it's broke down, that's how it sounds. And I don't know if it is Indian dialect, but that's kind of what it sounds like. Because in my region, I've noticed the same thing where I tried to tie it into like the Mohawk language. That was the closest, that I could find it in my area. That's what it sounded like. But it, like Fred said, it's broken down. You have your syllables, e, a, na, do, stuff like that. But it just might be because it's a primitive skill set.
Yeah. Kind of like when your syllables you were using, for example, almost remind me of ooh ee ah ah
Right, exactly.
ah. Now, all right, I'm not going to dismiss any of this as far as what people are hearing. My question is anybody seeing or having observations of this, of what they're recording and what they're hearing out in the woods? Um, I mean, that's you guys know what I'm saying. Does anybody witness this? Like, does anybody have conversations with the Sasquatch to say, hey, that's some kind of Cherokee, or that's English, or that's Spanish? Um, is there any record or any document where anybody has? that is having a face-to-face encounter and
You need
having
to
a
go.
conversation.
You need to go talk to Dr. J if you want that.
Dr. J. Well,
Well,
that's prostate right there. That's prostate healing.
I will chime in really quick. In 2017, we had gone into an area where we did the habituation thing, and we didn't get a perfect glimpse of what it was, but you could see that this thing was definitely walking and moving away at a rapid pace. This was, last year. A friend of mine and myself, and as this thing walked away, we were able to hear. I don't know if it was, but it was more like the primitive syllables. It almost sounded like a scream, but then it was broke down into different, almost want to say phrases. That's how we would, say it.
Yeah.
Because you asked if anybody was seeing this, but this is at like 100 yards in the woods where this thing, was moving off, and then it seemed paralleling that off to its left. There was this sound that it seemed like they were talking to each other, but you couldn't make it out. It was like that broken dialect.
Right. Well, I mean, like we all get out in the woods and we all hear, I'm just using this for example. We all get out in the woods and we hear all the, different animals. Nighttime has a different display of animals. And depending on the terrain, if we got hills and ridges or if it's flat in the most of the area, sometimes between the birds and all the other animals that like to vocalize throughout the night or whatever, sometimes I know I'll be, like I said, I'll admit again, I've admitted before where I've heard things in the woods I thought was like very mysterious till it got closer and closer. And then I was like, oh, that's all it is. Stuff like that. Sometimes in the distance, I've personally been fooled. And I believe it's safe to say maybe others have too. And maybe they didn't realize it. Maybe later on they come to realize it. But sometimes certain sounds in the distance, especially when they bounce off of the ridges and the hills around, sometimes could really deceive us, especially when it comes to the direction of the sound. I've been fooled by the direction of sounds too. But could that be a possibility where something in the distance may be fooling our hearing capability? I mean, what we're hearing, maybe we may be receiving it differently than what it actually is. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Could that be a possibility?
I mean, anything's possible. If I'm going to interject, yeah, obviously.
Right.
But as a researcher or a hunter or somebody that spends a lot of time in the woods, or even somebody that doesn't, you can distinguish a type of language from a bird. They say ravens and other birds kind of have some type of dialect, but when you get the baritone deepness and the broken syllables and different things, or lengthy recordings, of certain things going on, you almost have to say to yourself, it can't be human because humans don't speak like that, really. So what are you left with? I mean, you're kind of up in arms. I mean, yeah, anybody can be fooled, but at this point, we've been doing it so long, you have to question what you're hearing. I mean, common sense.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, I agree. I don't believe it's safe to assume firsthand, oh, that's what I heard. I was like, I think continuous observations. This is me personally. I'm not saying, everybody's different, but I'm speaking for me personally. I believe that we need to be a little cautious. I really do. I really believe that we need to be a little bit more cautious with ourselves. And I know that's easier said than done because as much as I try to be, I find myself slipping. I was like, man, I should have done this, or I should have just waited, or you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not perfect. I mess up a lot, and I'm not afraid to admit that. But so yeah, I think we just need to start questioning ourselves. And if that's what we come to believe, I say, then it's safe to okay, hey, this is what I was hearing, and after a period of time observing and listening to this back to back, this is what I come to believe. This is it, Um,
I mean, that's the definition of your scientific method. I mean, I know you like that route. So
right.
if you can if you can test it, or say you get language on audio and it's repeated, and you can get it a few other times, and you're going the right way about it. Like, I know that's how you like to do it. But when you're constantly, say you get a recording, what I want to say is, if you hear it with your own ears, you second guess yourself. If you get it on a recording where you can play that loop 30, 40 times, slow it down, speed it up, dissect it and do different things,
Yeah.
then what? You know what I mean? So that's why when I got my recording in 2016, there wasn't just one, there was multiples during a certain time frame.
Right.
And you can definitely hear it speaking, at 5 a.m. in the woods, and it's not just one. Like, there's a whole 10-minute sequence where on my SoundCloud. So the way I broke it down was, I took segments and shared it. But if you listen to the whole thing, what happens is, this would be my synopsis of the whole situation. A juvenile is in the area, and I'm hearing these screams, which some are birds, because you can distinguish, the birds, the ravens, or the crows. And then you hear the louder screams that are echoed, that come off it, and what I believe off the juvenile. And it gets closer, and then all of a sudden you hear some branches, really big branches, getting snapped, whack, snap, break.
Oh yeah.
And then when I hear that, it goes silent for a minute or two, and then it sounds like there's a deer coming through the area, because I can hear the hoofs close to the recorder. All of a sudden I hear something that it would seem like it dropped out of the tree, and you hear this huge thud.
Yep. Thump. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a wrestling going on, and then I hear what sounds to be expelled air. Like, if I were to push on a deer, or I was strangling it, or pulling the air out of it, you hear that, that last breath. It sounds like it's weird.
Almost like an exhale, a gasp, like gasping but exhaling, like
Right.
a kind of
Right.
sound. Yeah.
So, and then about a minute later, you hear this juvenile, which I believe, go bananas. It's screaming and screaming and going crazy and screaming and screaming. And then, I think another 3 minutes later, it sounds like there's an older male just down the ridge. This has to be within 60, 70, 80 yards of the recorder, because it's discernible. And that's when it seems like this big male, whatever he says, yells or does whatever to the juvenile, and the juvenile, to me, it sounded like I said, if I had to put it in English context, it sounded like he said, "Go lay down." I'm not sure. I don't know. But after that juvenile screams and screams, and as it moves off through the distance, you can continually hear it screaming and screaming and screaming until it's gone. So the way I broke it down was, if that juvenile, did kill an animal, maybe it was excited, or exasperated, or I got food, or whatever the situation is. Maybe it was its first kill. I don't know. But it seemed like it was going on and on and on, to where the grown-up had to interject and say, "Hey, stop, or get out of here," or whatever the situation is. Or maybe he chased him off. I don't know. But that's that whole breakdown. And when Fred listened to that, where the male does say something in that end section there, that's where he said, everybody's got their own opinion, but I don't really know what it says, but you could definitely tell it's some type of dialect. And I sent it away to a few different people, like I said, and they definitely, like in speech, where you find phenoms and certain things that are indicative of language, they broke it down and said it definitely has it in there. There's a gentleman on Facebook, I don't give out names, but he goes by Monongahela. It's, and he does a lot of audio stuff. And he was one of the first to get back to me, and said that that's a really interesting piece that you have there. It's definitely indicative of language. But it's interesting. Is it Indian? I don't know. I mean, but that's things, yeah, I don't know. We catch so many different things in the woods. It's unreal. You know how I am. I'm on the fence because I've experienced, so I have to stay open-minded. I have to just go roll with the punches.
Yeah.
I'm not putting my foot here or there. I'm
Well,
just
let me put it this way, and I want to make sure everybody understands that. Me personally, I'm not denying anything of what people hear out in the woods. Because I mean, I've heard what I thought I heard was what people describe as that chatter. In the distance, like what do they call it? Samurai chatter, maybe. I've heard stuff like that, but it was distant, and it was like because it was distant, it could have been something else, but that's what it
so
sounded like to me.
so hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna debunk that thought right there in 1 second, in my
All right.
opinion. Okay, so we don't know any known animal that makes the sound of samurai chatter.
Right.
So we call it, right? So how is it possible that somebody in the 70s, aka Ron Moorhead, captured this type of audio, but yet to this day we still capture this around the United States and around the world, this samurai chatter? So if there's no known animal that makes that, saying that a tiger did it and it's spread out across America. Well, we don't have that. We don't have this species documented.
Okay.
So how is it that we're hearing this chatter all different places across the United States or across the world or whatever you want to say? So
Yeah.
to me, that debunks that thought process that you're saying that it could be anything, because if it was anything, that species would be documented.
Well,
Hey,
yeah, but now
hey,
keep in mind.
hey,
Oh yeah,
Bob,
yeah. I
let me
just
say,
real quick, Fred. I want to say because
go
I
ahead.
heard it in the distance. What I'm describing as samurai chatter, it wasn't like what Ron Moorhead had, but it sounded like it was low tone, mumbling real fast. Like maybe some kids like chatting real fast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was that sound in the far distance. Like I said, sometimes things in the distance can play tricks with our ears as well as our mind when, especially if we're seeing or hearing these things.
It's
So
hard enough. That's why I said it's hard enough to hear things in the woods as it is because echoes. But when you do have the recordings, like myself or Moorhead or there's hundreds of people in recordings. I mean, how do you debunk the recordings when they all kind of sound the same
right.
from all over the U.S.? I mean,
Well, yeah.
we don't have a species that makes that noise, so we're left with where we are.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Go ahead, Fred.
Okay. 15 to 17,000 years ago, there was in Japan. There was a creature called a Kinawiki man, a group of descendants of Japanese A N, AINU Ainu population. This group had to be seafaring as land, uh, as well as a land bridge. Goodyear and the Smithsonian stated that our elk moved 15,000 to 17,000 years ago from Siberia. Sasquatches and the AINU may have been counter competitors in North America back then. Now, when it comes to the samurai chatter, do you think the Kennewicky man and maybe the Sasquatch kind of got together as far as the samurai chatter goes? Now, this was sent to me the other night from Washington State, from a friend of mine.
Well, all right. How long would they have been together then? If that was just entertaining the thought if they were.
Um,
'Cause-
Uh-oh.
let's see, there's small amount. All right, put it this way. All right, there is a small amount of DNA from Japan Island found in Washington State, preserved, found on a river in that state of Washington. So that creature, that Kaniki man, or whatever it was found on a river in Washington State. And 15 to 17,000 years ago, when the land bridge, before the land bridge blew up, or whatever it is, when they come across. So those two could have interbreeded with each other. If you think
Hmm.
about it.
I mean, anything can not anything, but I mean, we have a lot of bizarre crossbreeding.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got like any equines with zebras, they call it like zebroids, and your lion and tiger's a liger. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but think about that though. The way it's spelled is Kennewike.
Kennewick.
Yeah, Kenwick, and it says Kenwick man .y.HAPLOID.
He's
So
reading off the link.
no.
Oh,
This is what.
hold on. Let me hold it up again. I'm gonna.
Wait a minute. Let me bring it back up again. Yeah. Okay, let's bring it back up here. There we go.
It's not making out. It's blurry on the screen.
Yeah, but yeah,
It's
I
all
mean,
good.
this was sent to me from Washington State. And everything as it starts out, this is a small. I mean, this is this. There's a small amount of DNA from a Japan island. From that creature. So as far as the samurai chatter goes, that's where that could have come from. They
Right.
they could have interbreeded. So that's why people say to hear samurai chatter, because it does sound like. Think about going into a Japanese fish house or a Korean fish house. Think about putting about 50 auctioneers together and they go, they speak so fast.
Right.
And that's what squatchers do. They talk so fast.
But you
And
got to
that,
remember that that's just not. I mean, it's inherited, but it's probably learned, kind of like an auctioneer learns as we learn. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, I was using
Any
that as an
language
example.
to yeah, any language to a foreigner, like especially in schools today, schools offer foreign languages. Sometimes you have a choice. Oh, I'm going to take French. I'm going to take German, and most schools, 99% of schools teach Spanish or offer Spanish. Well, it takes you can learn your basics in what is it, 2 to 4 years. So, but yeah, it's just something you have to be around, and you have to use it enough. It's like my brother. My brother took Spanish in school, and he learned it enough to where his jobs. I was blown away. I've gone out to some of his jobs, and we've gone out in public, and he would start talking to them. Spanish people very fluently. I was like, what? I knew he knew a few things. I didn't know he was that good. Like he was very fluent, and so it's just something. If you use it enough, it'll stay with you. And then if like I used to know a few phrases and stuff because I learned a few things back in the day when I used to do a lot of construction. But if you don't use it like that, it goes away quick. But so yeah, it's something that's definitely got to be taught or learned or picked up over a period of time. If for anybody, so but one of the things I want to know, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm not denying what people are hearing in the woods, but why? Maybe earlier I asked the wrong question. This is what I'm trying to understand, and again, I'm not disagreeing with what you guys are hearing. I'm not in no position to say you didn't hear that because I wasn't there. But my question is, why are we calling what we hear out there, the sounds or the possible language or the chatter, Bigfoot? Why are we saying that's Bigfoot?
There is no other creature on God's green earth that has vocal cords. Think about that. But I mean, they do have vocal cords, but they're not designed to speak words like birds, coyotes, doves, uh, deer, beavers.
Right, I agree with you.
They all make
But the thing is, are we ruling out other people hiking through the woods or camping or You see what I'm saying? Are we ruling? I mean, are we dismissing that there's a possibility other people can be in the woods when people pick up these recordings that they get?
Not unless someone's way back in the woods, about 15 miles back up in the woods.
Well,
I mean,
McDonald.
not just that. Who to this day speaks like that?
Exactly.
I mean,
I know of.
nobody really speaks like that. Even Indian tribes. I mean, maybe some that are, you know, so primitive off the map. You know, they wouldn't be in our regions. You know, if you're talking like in the Amazon rainforest or something, unless there's another tribe of straight people out there that we don't know about all across the world. I mean, because animals just don't. I mean, they like Fred said, they don't speak. You know, they have the vocal cords, but they're not adapt to speak the syllables in the language. And like you hear cats and dogs, you know, when you tell them to say "I love you," you see it all over YouTube. Yeah, they can't do what we do. It can sound like that,
Yeah.
but here, that's a thought. Maybe that's why Squatch. Let me think about that for a minute.
Wait, what are you saying? I'm trying to follow you, Ryan.
I'm talking to myself here.
Oh, okay.
Something just hit me, like using the dog thing, like the way the dogs try to say "I love you," but it comes out sounding different.
Now that's
Maybe
more believable. That right there is more believable, because all the other crap I just heard was BS to me. So
Well,
well,
there are dogs out
and
there.
but
There are
it's
dogs out there
because
who actually dance to Native American music. I've seen a video on Facebook one day.
oh, that was CGI. That wasn't real, Fred. That
Hey,
wasn't
Fred,
real.
try to speak up a
It,
little bit for the mic because someone was saying on the
yeah.
live chat they couldn't hear you too well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Oh
that sounds
yeah,
better.
that's better.
I just kind of kept it away because I didn't want to over echo.
Oh yeah, you sound good. Yeah.
All right.
So
What do
but
you
no,
mean
like.
CGI?
Go ahead.
Who?
She didn't hear me.
say that again, Fred.
He said, "What do you mean that was CGI?"
Oh, that one dog dancing to the Indian powwow dance. You seen that? It's just
The one in the
CGI
cage.
and yeah, the one in behind the gate. Yeah.
How do you
But it
know
is
it's
cool.
How do you know it's CGI?
It's obvious because it links. You can see the jump in the film.
The loop.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Loop.
Yeah, that's
I
the proper
can't see it
term.
on the phone, so
Oh, but it is cool.
yeah, it is.
So let me ask you guys. Now that I'm really thinking about it, like you know how a dog does say "I love you" and stuff like that. It don't have the proper vocal cords or to say things. What if Squatches were the same way
Hey,
and they're
look,
trying?
They're just
I've
trying to replicate what they hear.
I've heard a
Right.
dog. I've heard a dog speak somebody's name before. Shaggy. Roro.
Oh, jeez.
But
Sorry, I had to.
but do you know what I mean? Like the way the dog does it. If you imply that to Sasquatch, if Sasquatch is trying to do the same thing and don't have the proper vocal cords, it's going to sound like that.
Yes, it is.
And I never really thought about that till actually just right now. So I'm going to have to do
Hold
some
on.
research on that.
I think I'm understanding what you're saying here because I'm like I'm thinking about one thing and trying to listen to you at the same time, and so my mind's slightly floating around at the moment.
So
So,
if you tell a dog to say "I love you," you see in the videos, they're all like, "Oh," they can't really. You know what I'm saying?
they try to, yeah, they attempt it, right?
Right. So if Sasquatch is the same way and they don't have the proper vocal cords when they talk, maybe they sound not like a dog, but the nature that the dog speaks like that. Maybe that's what we're hearing. Maybe they're trying to talk like that, but they can't. So it comes out in these broken syllables and all this chatter and this funny language, which we attribute to Indians or whatever else. You kind of get the
That
reference.
Yeah, I'm starting to
uh,
understand what you're saying now.
That to me is way more believable.
Or yeah,
That,
more logical. Yeah,
it's more logical. It's it seems like we're comparing it to what we know, okay? And we know what Native American sounds like.
Not all of them.
So our brains want to do that, just like when we do pareidolia with faces and everything. That's what we want to pull out of sound or vision.
Right, it's your cognitive disposition. That's
Yeah.
what you're.
Yeah.
But I
But
never really thought about it until I actually said that, and it was that's
but you also got to remember there's over 90 native languages that's extinct right now. So how do we know that they're not speaking one of them lost languages?
We don't. And
Exactly.
we will never know if they do unless you can sit a Bigfoot in front of you and have a conversation with them.
Or
And
you
we
could
all know
talk
that's
to,
not going to
or you could
happen.
talk to a native
No,
shaman.
what are they going to do? A
yeah.
shaman doesn't know anything more than you or me or anybody else.
They're going to tell you
They
what they believe. Yeah,
they speak the ancient language.
So that doesn't mean Bigfoot does.
No, listen to what I'm saying. I said they speak. They can speak the ancient language. That means they what they learned is passed down through their generations of
From Indian to Indian, but
from different
that's
tribes, different languages. It ain't strictly just you learn this and that's it. They learn everything. Different languages from different tribes, even the lost tribes. So maybe one of the like I might get a hold of a Cherokee shaman down in North Carolina, which got in touch with me back last summer, and I could ask him, saying, "What do you know about the extinct languages of native tribes and native languages in the United States?" And he could give me his opinion or his version of what he knows about it. You see what I'm saying?
all right. So yeah, these different languages are passed on, and all these different languages are passed on to each shaman or generation of tribesmen. So each one, they would have to learn each one for so long, and then use each one for
No,
a
they
long
don't
period of
have to
time.
learn it. They just
Oh,
have to.
I
They
like
just
what
they just
tri-state
have to
tri-state squatchers just said.
recognize which language is which from the extinct languages. They don't have to speak it. They can say, "All right, we learned from our elders about these certain tribes that speak a certain language that we no longer use or that are extinct." Is what I'm saying. I'm not saying they have to learn to speak it. I'm just saying they have to learn about it. See, people
Who
don't
has to
think
learn
about
about
stuff
it?
like that. You have to think.
Well, yeah. What Nikki
Who?
was asking, who needs to learn about it?
Everybody needs to learn about it because it's part of our history, man. We learn about it, then we can figure out exactly what language, if that Squatches possibly use, because here on the East Coast, they speak, in my region, they speak ancient Cherokee dialect. They speak the old language, not the new, as they say, modern Cherokee language. They speak the old language that is not spoken anymore. And the younger generation does not know about it, or they just don't care about it. But the elders continue, like Ocoei Niha, that is ancient Cherokee dialect that is not spoken today, but it is still spoken by the elders or by the shamans of every tribe. That's something you got to think about. And the
But
Squatches,
you can go to any Cherokee translator.
it don't have to
No.
be Cherokee. It could be Lakota. It could be Choctaw. It could be Apache. It could be Navajo. It could be any language. It don't have to be certain language. It could be a lost language, is what the Squatches are speaking, and we just
I
don't
think
understand. And we just
they
don't understand
are
it
speaking
because
their
we've
own
never heard it
language.
before.
They didn't steal it or borrow it from anybody else. It
Nikki,
just
you're
developed
missing
by
the point,
themselves.
young lady. You're
No, I
missing the
hear
point.
what you're saying,
No,
Fred.
you don't. You
But
you are assuming what you're hearing.
no, you're assuming
No,
what
I'm
you're
not
hearing.
assuming. I'm telling you that they learn the lost
How
language.
do you know? How do you
How do
know
I know?
that?
I study, I research. I study the old ways. Science is
So
zero
what? You
in
can
my
study
book.
all you want. But unless you have a subject
You
that you
don't
can
know
come back
that.
to every day
You
and
don't
it's
know
talking
that,
to you, how do you
Nikki.
know that?
You don't. You have no idea what I'm talking about. It's over your
Okay.
head. Bottom
Okay.
line, because
Okay.
I study the old ways. I learn the old ways. I don't use modern science. Science is not part of my vocabulary. Why do you think I know more about squatches than most people? Because we're out there. They leave the information there. You use what the squatches leave behind. You use the Native Americans, the hieroglyphs, the cave drawing stuff. It tells you the story and life of the Sasquatches. Okay, it's simple as that. The old ways. I learned from the old. I learned the old ways from elders in different tribes about the Sasquatches. The language that they speak, broken up or not, we don't know. But there is a lost language that they speak that most people, even experts, don't understand. That's the point I'm making. You have to pay attention. You have to research the past to understand the present. Like in archaeology, you have to find something. You have to go back in time and come forward. Oh, I'm not gonna no. And that's the way it is, Nikki. It ain't modern science. Daniel uses science. Sam Belush uses science. Science is
Uh,
zero in my book, but I've
I'm
learned
just,
more
oh, well, that's good to
about
know
Sasquatch
because
and the language through the natives and through the old ways. That's why I tell people for 1 month, put science on a shelf and research the way I do. You will learn more in 1 month than you will of 10 years of science.
Well, Fred, in agreement to you, I don't believe everything about science myself either. But the thing is, there's a big portion of it people don't realize. Actually, we use science on a daily basis. And there's some things about it that we don't realize that we're using it. But science is about life. Science is a biological way of living. You know, yeah, science does take some things a little extreme. I will agree. Science is kind of whack on some things.
When
I
it
don't
comes to
agree
learning,
completely.
when it comes to learning about Sasquatch, people say, I am 100% science. You'll sit there for 10 years waiting on one thing. Well, science ain't told me what this is yet, but yet I can go and learn the old ways and learn it faster and understand it. That's the
Right.
point. That's why I research the way I do. That's the way I teach on my tidbits the way I do. If you learn the old ways, like through the language barrier, they do speak a language. They are human hybrid. They speak a broken language or a language that we probably forgot about,
Yeah.
that we don't think about. That's what the bottom line is. And that's what I've learned researching through the old ways. Because you got to go to the past to understand the present.
Yeah. That era, learning history, understanding history, it is good and very important to understand. Um, so yeah, like where did our language come from? Things over a period of time. Did our ancestors didn't always speak the way we do. Some of us, some of our ancestors, for example, I might have had ancestors that were Spanish, which is not I don't. But let's look at my Italian side of family.
Well, you're
Um,
Choctaw or something like that, ain't you?
Micmac.
Micmac.
So,
All right,
well, yeah,
Micmac
I'm
is
not.
French.
I'm not even looking at the Native American side of it. I'm looking at like because I got. I also got Irish and I got Italian,
You got
and so
French in
look
you.
at them. Let's go back to I got French. So in French we got two different dialects that I know of.
Well, I got Irish.
Yeah. So but as far as like, yeah, I use French for example. My relatives know French. Now look at Canada and France. They're totally separate, not even connected. These two countries, these two continents, or whatever how you want to look at it, they're separated, but yet they understand each other. They know the language. They're two different dialects. But over a period of time, some of my family they broke away from that, and it became lost to many of them, where the English took over. So You know, I believe over a period of time, that's why I think it's important that we have to be careful how we look at when it comes to Bigfoot's, the alleged language or how they speak to make certain claims. So yeah, looking back in history and looking at how we lost what was compared to what is now, things change over a period of time where there's a new styles, or there are new adaptations. Me, I don't believe in evolution, but I believe in adaptation. Through over a period of time, depending on lifestyle and the way of living, we have to learn to adapt to these changes in life and nature and wildlife. So, so yeah, I do believe that things do change, but I agree with you looking at things in the past. So, if that made any sense, so
Well, I mean, think about it. All right, an archaeologist find. All right, I'll give you a good example. The Gigantopithecus. All right, they found a piece of a jawbone in a cave in South China. All right, they didn't know what it was at first, but they researched it, but they had to go back in time to figure out what it was. And then they had to piece it together from the past to the present to figure out exactly what it was by the jawbone, how tall it was, how much it weighed, were they a family unit or stuff like that. That's why I say you have to go back in time to come forward. That's why I say with the language of the Sasquatch, you have to go back in time to the forgotten, extinct language, and then come forward. That's why I say in my
right,
region they speak ancient Cherokee dialect, which is a language that is not spoken anymore by the younger generation. It's still
right.
spoken by the old ways. That's why I learned the old ways.
Yeah, but you're right about what you said when using the illustration about the Gigantopithecus, the jawbone and the tooth they had. They, they had to do some research. You're right, but you know what? Reconstructed and put that whole image together. Science.
Yeah, it took time
Sci-
to do that.
it
But
took science to
yeah,
put that
it took
together.
time. But I'm talking about the way I do it. I don't use science. Now there are
Right.
times that you do use science, but in what I do, I don't need it unless
Hmm.
I'm throwing some more DNA out there.
Hmm.
Because at the Wildlife Center in Waynesboro, when the guy told me, Bill Brock looked at the sample and they said it was human contaminated. I went back there and I talked to the guy who did it, and I said, "Did you find human DNA sequence in that hair?" And oh, yeah, it was a hair of that hair I found. He said, "Yeah." I said, "So it is not human contaminated. That means it's human DNA is in the hair and the bloodstream of that creature." He said, "Most likely, yes." So when you hear people say, "Oh, it's human contaminated by humans," it's not. I mean, certain times it is when people handle it with their fingers and stuff. But if you put it together right and send it away like you're supposed to, and then they tell you that it's contaminated by a human
Right.
after they've washed it and cleaned it and put it through the DNA, and it comes back with human DNA sequence in in that hair sample. In other
Hmm.
words, so we
Hey,
know that they're human.
real quick, I'm looking at the live chat, and Tri-State Squatchers said something that kind of that's got my interest here. We were talking about the you were talking about the jawbone, and he brings up he says, "May that." I'm reading this the way he has it, the way they have it written. May that was a all right. May that be that was a jawbone, or was wait. Hold on, let me look at this. May that was a jawbone was really a squatch, and Meldrum has it backwards. He's saying that in a form of question. He said basically, what if Meldrum, or I guess it's Mel. I didn't think it was him that put that together, but basically, whoever came up with that, what if they came up backwards? Maybe what if it was a squatch of
Well,
some
one
sort?
thing, Meldrum really don't know anything about a Sasquatch. He had already admitted it. He knows footprints. He knows the foot of a Sasquatch. But when actually asked about the Sasquatch, he don't know that much about him as
Yeah,
far as what he does.
yeah, he's using his research based off of evolution and his knowledge about and his understanding about the evolutionary theory with
Exactly.
the evolutionary tree and everything that branches off, which that's part of the science where I don't agree with. There's a lot of confusion with that tree and a lot of broken limbs, if you ask me. But
So if you question that, you got to question a lot more.
right,
Exactly.
there's always questions on top of questions, and it's going to continue with questions. But um, so and believe it or not, if you do your research, there's other anthropologists and there's other scientists that don't agree with the whole evolutionary thing, and then the time frame of the Earth, and you know, some of them look at I don't know, and these are people that don't even believe in the Bible, but they're looking at things. That, there's something I looked up. I can't really give you much detail because it's something I came across some years ago, but I would have to try to do some digging to find it again. But yeah, there is scientists that look at things different than what science puts out there today. Um, because even Dr. Todd Disotell, I'm sure because I know Brian, you've had some interaction with him, and I'm sure he'll tell you that even hardcore mainstream scientists they make mistakes, and they if they're a decent scientist, they will admit to that mistake. So, but yeah, scientists they're not perfect either. You know, a lot of their belief and claims that we believe today that's being taught in school is all based off of theory. And on top of another theory.
Well,
As far as I'm,
how many
huh?
times you see something in AKA the world of science, and then 30 years later it's redacted because they had to change something because it was wrong.
Right, exactly. That's a good point right there. A good one. That's how much people. But you know what? There's people that worship science that much. You know, instead of one simple logical explanation. Read about but they'll believe anything science tells them, but believe it's too far fetched to believe what the Bible says. You know. I know there's a lot of non-religious people out there, non-believers, but but I believe in the way the creation of the earth was. But so and even though it's funny, let's for a second. I know the Bible doesn't mention a lot of things, but there is the Bible does mention dinosaurs. It mentions the word behemoth, and it describes the details of the giant, dinosaur with the details of what it looked like. Which to me, I think the way if you read into it, it describes to me what sounded like a brontosaurus type dinosaur. But they describe it as in the word used was behemoth, and it doesn't mention every other known monster or beast that roams the earth. So I believe that maybe there was a Bigfoot creature that was then back then that is today. It's just so there's a lot of different ways we can look at things, and then again, even the way I could look at things, I still have to question it. I was like, well, if I'm going to believe this, but I got to look at all the other angles too, like everyone else does. So
Yeah, yeah. See, most people don't realize that a Sasquatch will always come back to where they're born to give birth or their partner to give birth. Constantly, year after year after year. It's like clockwork. So you can get to know them like that, like in my area. I know where every birthing bed is in my area. I know when they're there because they leave signs when they're there and when they're not there. By one tree, they use one certain tree or one tallness of a tree, and
yeah,
they'll snap it and they'll bend it over into a fork to make like a corner of a book. That means they're in there. But when they leave, they'll take it out of the fork and lay it down next to the tree to make the tree go up and down like this, make it look like that. And that tells you that they're not in there and everything. See, people don't know that. People also don't know that they have a black line that runs from one side to the eye to the other, which causes them to see at night, which causes them to cause their eye change yellow or white, yellow, yellowish orange, emerald green, and red. I also learned one night in camp that they communicate by eye blinks by watching a juvenile and an adult in my camp one night about 3 o'clock in the morning. We had a juvenile sitting right in front of my fire pit, and we had another 10 footer, 9 or 10 footer standing to the right of my tent, and I could see his face, and those two were communicating. And then the little one looked up at him and looked at the tent and got up and hauled butted. So we know they communicate that way. So that's another thing that people don't know about a Sasquatch is their eyes. When people say I see the whites in their eyes, they don't have white in their eyes. What you see is a fluorescent glow. The retina glows white. But yet, when I had that one stand in front of me at 5 feet, I could see the brown in the color of his eye and his retina, but the rest of the eyeball was the same color and everything. And you can also tell the mood of a squatch by the color of his eyes. That's something else people don't realize what these creatures can do. Like
Now,
when
I
me,
mean,
like,
that
like,
description. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
like when me and Baltimore had that little discussion about the eye shine. He says, "Oh, you have to take a flashlight and hit their eyes to make it glow." I said, "No, you could put them in a closet in pitch black, and their eyes will light up like a Christmas tree." They're the only creatures that can do that in pitch black darkness without any light, because that black line through the eye causes them to draw enough light to see at night. Like a rattlesnake, they use their tongue, but they see nothing but heat signatures. A coyote, uh, an owl, their eyes have enough fluorescent in it to see at nighttime. It allows light to pass through, and the squatch is just like that to a point. But most people don't know that because they don't particularly pay attention to stuff like that. And once you start understanding it, you start understanding the squatch itself. Family units, we in my camp, we learned how the juvenile, we learned how the babies or the juvies belly crawl. I've had them within 2 feet of me sitting at the tent and they're belly crawling. A buddy of mine got touched by one night, and I explained to him this is what the squatches do. He was a non-believer. Matter of fact, a lot of people were non-believers until they come to my camp, and now they're believers. And the language, a couple of people who've been in my camp has heard them speak native tongue too, and everything. So it's really it's fascinating that what you can learn by going back in time and come forward, and the language comes with it too. Like tonight, we had that phenomenon. We heard English, we heard native singing behind the camp. We don't know where it come from back there, but it was close. After 15 minutes, everything just stopped and went back to normal. What we were listening to, it sounded like, um, how would you describe it?
Ancient native singing.
Yeah, it was ancient native singing. I know it's kind of like they were throwing a
Like a war dance.
yeah, like a
war dance.
yeah, like a war type dance. I mean, the way they were sounding, but it was native singing as close as we can get to it. But it was a language we heard. Okay, I'm done.
Well, Nikki, you there? You wanted to jump in there, didn't you?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I was muted.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, I don't believe in any of that stuff. The eye glow and all that crap. I think if it's a flesh and blood animal, it's got certain rods and cones in its eyes, and it's going to be a set glow that comes out of that animal all the time. I don't think its anger can turn it one color, and if it's happy, it can turn another color. I don't believe in
Nikki don't
that.
believe.
But
Now, oh wait, real quick before you go on. Now, there is one animal that I know of where their eyes will turn red based off of anger or aggravation, and that's
what's
usually
that?
a grizzly bear. It doesn't last long, but that's actually something. When I was doing some research on bears, I mainly was researching black bears, but something I came across, and I happened to mention about the grizzly bear, the brown bear, and during aggravation and when they're mad for some reason, their eyes project like a red glare.
Uh-huh.
Now, even well, the thing is, that's during daytime. You can see that during like daytime, or but at nighttime with black bears, like black bears, if you hit their eyes with light, you're gonna see red reflection anyway. But that's something a grizzly's eyes will turn red. That's the only animal that I actually ever read about with their eyes turning red for that reason.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to let you know that was something I came across during some of my you know research on bears.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, I hadn't heard that anything could do that, and I still don't think that happens. But I think Sasquatch speaks Sasquatch, and that's it. You
Well,
know,
Nikki,
people in one area of the country are going to hear what they want to hear, and up in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, they're going to hear samurai chatter, and up in Alaska, they're going to hear what that Alaska
Eskimo.
Inuit, and they're going to, everybody's going to hear something a little bit different in whatever area they're from. So,
I'll tell you what, Nikki. Next summer, when your husband gets vacation, why don't y'all come down to my? Why don't you come down here to Virginia to my camp and let you see what I've been talking about?
Oh, she wants
do,
to. She's gonna try to come up for the conference if she could get time off.
I'm gonna try to do that one.
Because I'm gonna tell you,
So,
the night of the conference, the night of Daniel's conference, this past conference, we had quite a few people show up at our camp that were non-believers. 20
I'm a
minutes.
believer.
20,
I'm a believer. I'm
no,
just a
listen.
skeptic
20 minutes.
to a lot of the
20
stuff
minutes.
that's said about them.
Hey, Nikki, 20 minutes after people got there, we had 6 juveniles stand within 10 feet of everybody in the open. We had squatches.
I hadn't heard anything from anybody about that.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
I can't contest. I wasn't there. I was at the conference.
Well, the biggest believer we got there was Verna. Because Verna said, I want to see Henry, the 18-footer. And we pointed him to her. And everybody's jaw hit the ground when they saw them squatches standing in front of them. Every one of them. Everybody's jaw dropped. And these are the people that Daniel sent to my camp. I was supposed to take them on a night hike, and I didn't. I just said, we're going to sit here at the camp. And about 10:30, we were surrounded by squatches. Standing everywhere. People were going crazy.
Yeah, Ryan, I know you're only about 6 to 7 hours from Virginia, aren't you, Ryan?
I think about 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you must be way up there. That's right, because I'm estimating that based off of one location. Never mind. I'm sorry. Because I forgot New York is a very large state like Pennsylvania. Yeah, if you're able to make it down, it'd be great to have it. I kind of wish you came down, for this past event. You would have loved it and really enjoyed yourself.
I'll probably try to get down there next year. Right now, I'm focused. We've got our expo up here, October 12th and 13th.
Oh, okay.
And Peter Weimer, he runs that. But,
Yeah.
a lot of people come up. Steve calls, a bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one. Where's what location in New York does that take place?
It's actually DeWittville, New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one I told you about that's happened in February. Are you familiar with that one?
I don't think so. Where's that?
I may have ran it by you before. Hold on, I'll pull it up in a second. Give me a second, because let me pull the guy's name up. The guy who runs it is named Ted Van Son. Give me a second.
I know over the last few years, quite a few people have, jumped on the research thing in New York, because for a long time it was, not too many.
Yeah, this it's a 2 day event. It's called Rochester. It's the Rochester Parafest. Parafest.
Yeah,
Um.
Rochester's about 3 hours from me.
Oh, okay. I just sent you a Facebook page link to it. Um.
Yeah, I have to check that out.
So yeah, it's happening February. I forget the date. It should show on the page. Yeah, it's called the Rochester Winter Parafest.
God, it's so hard. It's so hard to travel in New York in February. It's
Yeah.
they're always
The one-
closing down the thruway.
oh wow. Well,
Yeah.
the one thing I found impressive about this here is they're actually benefiting the veterans. Basically, they're raising money for veterans, especially wounded veterans and stuff. So, because part of their operation, it's called Operation Build Up Veterans Benefit 2019. So, I mean, that's actually one of the first time I heard of any CryptoCon or any kind of event like this that's supporting the veterans and troops. So I thought that was very cool. Um, so,
There's a question.
on the live chat.
Yeah.
All right, I'm coming back to it. I was on a different page.
Daniel's always on a different page.
Yep.
I was sending you that link, and I was trying to read details for you.
Taylor
All
and
right,
Tate.
hold on. Let me refresh my live chat.
It's kind of a question for Fred.
Um, it was Taylor and Tate. The only thing I see from them right now that I'm looking at, it says, "Ask that, please, Nikki."
Oh, okay. So it says for Fred, wait, so 6 juvenile Sasquatch standing out in the open and not one person takes a picture? Please
Yep.
explain why.
Because when you take and pull out a camera and you flash it, they're gone. They know what cameras are. That's why I like a game camera. If it's got a flash on it, anything's got a flash, anything that's got light, they're going to disappear. Because the way I figured it out and the way I researched it, they're like some of the like the Amish used to be, or back in the 1700s. If you draw a picture or take a picture of them, you're stealing their soul. And besides, huh?
It's still like
Yeah,
that.
there's people still like that, you know. But I've learned from the Squatches that when you got a camera and you're taking a picture, they know what it is and they don't want to be seen and they're going to haul butt. We've had them in front of us quite a few times at my camp at nighttime while they're playing. And I've tried to bring up a camera and they just be gone that quick. This is how good they are. I took a night vision monocular and didn't even cut it on. We had
Hey,
one run
hey,
from
Fred,
Park
speak up a
Road.
little bit. They're saying to you they can't hear you.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right. I took a night vision monocular, didn't even cut it on. We had one squatch run from the culvert through the base of my camp to go behind the camp, and I held it up, and he stopped on a dime. Never turned his head once, kept his head straight. I dropped the camera, he bolted. I held it up, he stopped. I held it when I dropped it, he bolted, and I didn't even cut it on. That's how good they see, and that's how intelligent they are. They know when you have something in your hand, you're gonna take a picture or video, and they're gone, or they're gonna freeze in the shadow where you can't see them. That is why they do that. And the reason no one at that camp that night, nobody was interested in cameras. They was interested in looking at the creature itself. There were 6 little ones standing in the open, standing there. You can see the silhouettes, you see their eyes, you see everything. And they're just looking around you like being curious kids. After about 5 or 10 minutes, they just disperse. What they're doing, they're coming across the road, going up on the mountain behind the camp
No, no, no.
to go hunting and foraging for food. but we are in their area, so they're stopping checking us out. And then after a while, they go on back, and we don't see them for the rest of the night. But we got a 2 to 3 hour window to see these guys. That's the simplest answer I can give.
All right, Ryan just messaged me, said he had to jump off.
All right.
He had to go take care of something. Let me see what the light show here is. Mr. S. Smith, whoever that is, says, "Stop that! It's hurting my ears, man." Because when you made it louder, it was giving off that weird sound. I even had to take my headset off for a second to get loud.
Oh, me?
All right, Taylor and Tate said, "Sweet, we are coming for sure next year without a camera." Thanks, Fred. So, next time get. Well, I'm trying to see, make sure I didn't miss nothing here. Oh, Cat Fleming said, "Wear a cop cam with night vision. You know, the ones that usually they go on your chest. I don't have nothing that even resembles it."
What about those little teeny cameras you had at the conference thing? Those ones about big as a piece of dice?
Yeah, those there. I think those are made where you could get a strap for them. You can set them up just like you do a GoPro. They have little attachments for them.
Yeah, but they're small enough to where you can wear them on your body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could set them anywhere.
I can get them off of Wish.com for like maybe $3 a piece.
Yeah. If you look at them, I know I was trying to look for them. You can get them anywhere from 3 to 10 to some places sell them at $20 a piece.
Yeah, and they're about big as
a quarter.
Yeah, about big as a dice. That's why.
Yeah.
Never thought about
that. Let's see. Bobcat Wong is asking, "Can Bigfoot be mistaken for tribes and bearskins?"
Can what?
Can a Bigfoot be mistaken for, I guess, like an Indian and bearskins?
In the footprint department?
No, like if they were to wear skins of a bear, can an Indian or Indian tribes, could they be mistaken as Bigfoot?
I don't know. Remember what Baltimore was talking about the other night about when he wears his head costume?
Hold on, it's hard to hear you because that interference wherever your speaker is at.
All right, you remember what Baltimore was saying the other night? Remember about the headdress?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
About the headdress through the woods and stuff. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
I can't hear you. I can't hear him.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. All right, remember what Baltimore was talking about the other night with the way the natives, the way the Apaches get into nature through their costume, like he had an elk head with deer racks, and they get his costume on, they run through the woods.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Same difference.
Okay.
But there have been cases where Sasquatches were seen wearing deer hides.
No, I don't know. Yeah, that's a new one. I don't know if I've heard that.
That was back in the early 80s. I've seen it one time. I can't remember who the guy was.
I actually heard that too.
One of them groups that me and you got out of because they kept trashing us.
Yeah.
It was in that group. One of them
groups. All right. See, hold on one second. What's everybody's take on Bigfoot being an alien?
No way.
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
I agree. I think it's bogus. Even though some people claim they say some, believe it or not, I'm sure you guys heard it. There's some claims where people said, "Well, I seen a UFO dropping off a Bigfoot," or in some cases, I think it's a coincidence. They have a UFO sighting and a Bigfoot sighting all in the same time night. You know, in the same general location. They so that's where they put that connection together as well. But to me, it's just one of those things. Is it's one of those claims with if you don't have proof, it's hearsay.
Well, you remember the episode of Finding Bigfoot where they had another group that was UFO types, and Finding Bigfoot tried to they kind of broke the team up and kind of went to each group.
Oh yeah. Weren't they more of a paranormal group or something?
Alien, paranormal, whatever.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah,
the
yeah, I
one,
think I so.
the group that Bobo was with, they went into a cave and was worshiping a rock, an alien rock. And
Hmm.
Bobo's like, okay, this is getting weird. You
Hmm.
got people out there who claim they've seen portholes. One guy, and Daniel you know who I'm
I
talking
think we
about.
all know who you're about.
Yeah,
What you're.
yeah. He claims that he sees the big Sasquatch, and he sees him turning into the devil. He gets growled at. He gets chased out. All this crap. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, they're like, we healed your prostate. Now get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh Lord have mercy.
But anyway, when MK Davis, I mean, he surprised me when he done the MK Davis. I mean, done the Ron Moorhead, because I got Ron's book and I got the CD and everything, and he took one and slowed it down 50%, and you could start to understand a language. Now, what I did, I found, I got different sets of how he's got them lined up on the CD, and I found the one that the MK was using. And what I did, I took it 50% for the exact same thing MK did, but then I slowed it down to 98%. And it was a native language.
I don't see how you can hear anything at
It,
98%.
exactly, because
When
now
you
the fifty
slow it
It's
percent.
going
down,
too slow. It's going too slow. You would just hear like bat, bat.
it's what you're
You wouldn't hear
listening. It's
nothing.
what you're listening to. It's how you decipher it. See, I've taken a lot of my recordings that my ex-wife Pat destroyed, and I've slowed them down. Like on a video, I slowed them like when you slow a video down, you go 100, 50, 25, and then 0. Well, I do that with the sounds, and I don't get it to 100%. I go 98 as far as I go, like 50, 75, 80, 90, 95, like that. And it slows it down. In other words, it slows the language down, slows the speaking down. It's like taking a Japanese and telling him to talk real slow.
But
Like when
even
we
an
had a
American
Russian boy,
language, you can't
put
decipher.
our cable in. We had to talk to him like a second grader so he could understand what we were saying. That's the same way you have to do it. That's what the same way you have to do it with the language barrier of the Sasquatch. You have to slow it down to where you can understand it.
Fred,
Actually,
Connie's trying to get your attention.
Huh?
I said Connie's trying to get your attention.
if you remember a few months ago when we was up in that one area not too far from here, or out, was it on the cars? Well, that one hollered, "Yeah," at me.
Yeah, it was. She had a little female juvenile squatch follow us around. She got a picture of him, got a face picture of her, and we was coming
Yes, the
out.
Daniel Mirror imaged it.
No.
It's the one Daniel Mirror image.
That's not the same one. That's on the coal roads. We were talking up here at the other place. But she had a juvenile Sasquatch say "iya" to Connie when we was walking out.
Said it clear as day.
And that's "iya," and that's ancient Cherokee dialect language for "I'm your friend." They do speak native tongue. when you have a Sasquatch say iya, niha, or ni iya. Iya means I'm your friend in native Cherokee dialect language.
It was clear.
It was clear as a bell.
I heard it clear as a bell.
So, Nikki, you need to come to Virginia to learn about the Sasquatches. Sitting on a
I think
computer all day does not
I
help.
think he's saying neon, but I think he's saying get the fuck out. That's what I think he's saying.
Nikki, I'm in the woods almost every single day. We live in the woods during the summertime.
Oh, Nikki.
You
I gotta
have
be.
I
no
know. I do
idea
want to
what you're
come. I
talking. All
seriously,
you
I
do, Nikki,
really
is
do
sit on
want
a
to. I
computer
want
or
to
talk to
see
people. You
this.
know, you do have a nice area, but like you showed me one day, somebody went in there and trashed it.
Oh
But
yeah, that was ruined
yeah,
area. Hmm.
but the thing is, you have no idea exactly how a Sasquatch works. We see it every day. Daniel went into an area with us, and he's got it on video. It's called Squatching with Fred and Connie. Daniel videoed a Sasquatch sitting right smack in front of him and didn't even know it. We didn't even know he was there. They hide in the open. I've had photographs taken of me standing in the open and no one could see me. We had a Sasquatch standing 30 feet behind me during that day, and I never seen it. Thank you. See, our brains are set up to find things that are hidden behind a rock, behind a tree, behind a car, behind the log, like that. We got a 2-part video we made on how to train your eyes to spot a squatch. And we use her and we use me in scenarios. And a lot of people are learning like that. But I found out from experience that they hide in the open because your brain is not looking for them in the open. We're looking for them hidden. So when you go in the woods, you're going to think, okay, he's behind a tree. Like I got a photograph of one peeking out from around a tree. But yet we got another one standing right out in the open behind me, standing right next to a burnt pine tree, standing there, and we never seen it because he matched the color of that tree, and he stood perfectly still. It's like a deer, a bobcat, a squirrel. Like a deer. You'll be walking through the woods and there'll be a deer standing 20 feet from you on your left hand side. You'll never see it until it moves. That's the way a squatch does. See, I learn a lot. I pay attention to when you go in the woods, you open your senses up. You listen to not one thing, you listen to everything. And once you start listening to everything, then you start understanding how a squatch lives, how they survive. And it starts making sense to you. That's why I research the old ways.
Hi, I'm Donetta Johnson with Cherokee Nation Cultural Tourism. Welcome to Cherokee Word of the Week. This week's word is Oganali. Oginali.
That's the new
Oganali.
language.
That's the
which
new
means
language,
my friend.
Nikki.
That's the modern language.
That's modern language.
That's the modern Cherokee.
That's modern
They
Cherokee.
changed it from the old.
They changed it. See, Connie's Cherokee. See, the ancient dialect. Go to a link called Ancient Cherokee Dialect Language. Ancient Cherokee Dialect Language. And it teaches you. That's where I learned it from. OCO means hello. Ya means I'm your friend. And Niha means I mean you no harm. That is ancient Cherokee dialect. What you're looking at is modern Cherokee or the newer version of it. See, the younger generation doesn't really pay attention or want to understand the old ways. They don't want to learn the old language. They want to modernize with the time. That's why all the Native Americans are slowly fading off off the country. They're all speaking English now.
What about the word hello in the old Cherokee dialect?
OCO.
All right, here's
OCO. I think it's spelled
because I,
O-C-O. I think OC, I think.
yeah,
And
because this is hold on.
Because the modern way to say hello is CO. They don't say OCO anymore. They say CO.
Yeah, it's OSIYO broken
Yeah.
down OCO. Yeah.
see the Carolina Squatchers, they use that when they go in the woods. They say OCO. The newer version of it is CO. Then you got E-YA. EE-YA8. E-YA. I'm your friend. And then Niha. You got to say it like a Niha. You got to put that ha in there.
And we get responses.
And we get responses from like that.
Hold on one second.
It's weird how it works, you know. But that's why I say, you know, now in each part of the country, the language is going to be different. Like down in Louisiana, they speak French down there, what they call broken French. Cajun. But I don't know how the Squatches speak down there, you know. I don't know. I just know about more on the East Coast. And I know a little bit about the West Coast, and that's about as far as it goes.
Hi, I'm Donetta Johnson. I'm the Special Events Coordinator for Cherokee Nation Cultural Tourism. Welcome to Cherokee Word of the Week. First Cherokee word of the week is OCO. O-C-O. OCO. OCO means hello in Cherokee. Be sure to check in for next week's word of the week.
Ta-da! No, I had a female Cherokee spiritualist at Colorado State University turn me on to a link.
Let's see.
It taught you all sorts of languages, or the old dialect language. Like Ihina. Ihina in ancient Cherokee means thank you. What's that word for bye? Still learning. But if you learn the dialect language from the tribes in your region, learn hello, how are you, I'm your friend, I mean you no harm. And when you get the words sound right, go in the woods where you know there's squatches in your region and start speaking and say it loud. That you'll get a response like a wood knock to let you know where they're at, or let you know that they're letting you know that they understand what you're saying.
Listen, you in my area, you get vocalization.
Yeah, now Daniel's area, his are very vocal. They'll scream at you, they'll squall. My area, and it's the same national forest now, just 20 miles or 30 miles apart. Mine you won't hear, but you will see. That's the difference in them. And I'm sure up in your area, down in your area, Nikki, that they are very vocal at nighttime.
Yep, they are.
See, that's one thing. See, that's one thing I can't figure out. In my area, you see them, but you don't hear them. In Daniel's area, they are very vocal. Like the last time I was up there, me and him come out of the woods, and I said, "Watch this." I went, OCO, EA, or something like that. And about 30 feet to our right, we had that close to us, and it was a young male.
I probably would have. I probably would have made the same sound if I got interrupted using the bathroom. I just joking.
Well, we heard a barred owl, and we heard two squatches mimic the barred owl behind them, and you could tell the difference. The original bird sounded good. First squatch sounded halfway decent, but the second squatch really sucked at it. You know,
Well, I can truly believe that different areas have completely different type of Bigfoot in them. I mean, where I researched in Arizona, the one area near the Mogollon Rim had very fair skinned Bigfoot, according to reports, more human like.
yeah,
And the further you went east towards the New Mexico border,
yeah,
they looked more ape like and were darker in color
yeah.
and were mean
Now the
and
ones
threw
that I've
rocks.
seen in my area has a conical head. Well, we got two kinds. We got ones with conical heads, and one's got the elongated skull like the Egyptians. And when I had that 7 footer walk out in front of me one day, I thought it was a bear because it was on all fours. What I found out was he was black, but the hair on their skin is actually light, is thin. It's the color of their skin. Like I got a photograph of a juvenile of a squatch hiding, underneath some trees, and his face is charcoal black, but their skin is actually dark. Like we got ones with black faces, ones with
Hmm.
brown faces, or brown color that matches their. Like the black ones have black skin, the brown ones have a brown skin. The gray ones got a cream color skin, you know, and all the ones that we've seen look like a human in the face, but they just got the conical head. That's the difference I've seen them. Now I know as you go out west, they get bigger.
Yeah.
Now here in
They are
Virginia,
big.
the biggest one we've ever seen, and there was one time, was a 20 footer. Now we got two 18 footers. We got two brothers that stand on each side of my camp at nighttime, and they're guards. But the 20 footer I never heard of before until we found out that only the true giants come out at night. Not where people can see them. They're up in the mountains. We got lucky one night and seen it, and it's weird because he had an 18 foot in front of him walking down the road. While he was walking down the road, we heard that native singing right behind our camp. When he went out of sight, everything stopped. The next day, I got a call from a Cherokee shaman, and he told me, he said, everything that you've seen, said, and recorded is exactly what has happened to every tribe in the United States and Canada at least once in their lifetime of their tribes. So we were lucky. He said, you'll never see it again. Probably not. We don't know. But it's weird, you know. And we didn't know. We knew about the 18 footers, but we didn't know a 20 footer. You know, but it's weird how these squatches work. Like we got 5 clans that come through our camp every night, or around our camp, more or less terms. We have them crossing the creek, walking right behind the tent. We're standing there looking in our chairs, looking around, looking at him. We've been doing it. We've been there for so long that they're used to us, and they know we're not a threat. Now, as you go out west, they get more aggressive because they're being chased, they're being shot at, and I don't blame them for being aggressive, you know, and stuff like that. People don't know stuff like that. That really, like, you got people who sit at home all day and research by reading books, listening to people's lectures, and playing on a computer. They know stuff by what other people write and experience and stuff, but to really get to know a Sasquatch, you have to put boots on the ground and get out in the woods, and you have to listen, understand, and pay attention. My phone just went dead. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. Because Connie's phone just cut off. But
Hold on one second.
Oh, now I think we lost him.
Yeah, we lost you now, Fred. I hear you. I see your mouth moving.
Yeah. So now his
Ah.
phone's off.
All right, hold on one second.
He said, give him a sec.
Yeah, he's got to plug it in. I'm trying to look for something here.
Ooh. Well, maybe I should take this advantage now that Fred's not talking.
Go ahead,
I'm
speak away.
just kidding, Fred. I know you can still hear me. No, I mean, I have a hard time with some of the stuff, he says, but I'm not in his area. I know you've been to his area, but you don't have any pictures either, do you?
Not on my own, no.
Yeah. Um, and I don't know. I think if we had 18 or 20 footers out there, I think we would have pictures of that.
Fred's saying
So,
no.
so
He's
I need
shaking
to
his head
see it for
no.
myself. I know I need to see it myself, and I'm just gonna have to get out there, I guess, and see it for myself because I just have a hard time with that. I have a Bigfoot museum here at my house and donated 2 tracks to Heavener Bigfoot Museum. That's what Reverb Twang said.
What was that? Hold on, I'm coming back to the live chat. I was trying to look
Oh,
something up.
yeah, that's what I was reading. Reverb says he has a Bigfoot museum. Where are you at, Reverb? Oh, 90 minutes north of Falk. Where's
Oh,
Falk?
Arkansas.
Oh, I don't
You,
know.
you never heard of Falk, Arkansas? With
N-
there's a legend of the
Oh, the Falk monster, whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yep. The which that there they claimed it's a three-toed Bigfoot down there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I saw a good documentary on that one.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that the one where that news girl went out there and did a overnight thing with somebody and they were throwing rocks at her?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh my gosh, it's really good. I think that's the same one if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
She goes out with a couple of guys that had an experience out in this one area,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden rocks start coming from the forest.
Oh wow.
And it's old though. It's like late 70s, 80s maybe.
Hmm. Yeah. I've had a rock thrown at me once. Well, actually twice. I had a big one thrown at me. It actually happened, over in Fred's area. I was on the back trail going up behind the field. Excuse me. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm the only one here. So ask questions because I'm looking at the live chat right now. And go, Nikki, go. Hey, I appreciate it. A couple of we went and to my old YouTube channel. I don't do it anymore. It was something I did for a little while, but I was reporting a lot of negative stuff. I mean, it was fun at the time because during that time was when the whole Rick Dyer stuff was going on. So I did a lot of stuff about that. But so I don't really post anything anymore. It's just my old stuff. I don't even know if anything's still open on there. But as for me, I used to go out in Arizona was my home ground that I used to check out on the Mogollon Rim area, Long Valley, all the way down to Forest Lakes and Prescott, Payson, all those areas. And then I started moving with my husband. So I also went up to Colorado. We were out of Colorado Springs, and I did a couple of things out there near Castle Rock. I don't know if any of you know Colorado Bigfoot. What's his name now? I can't think of his name. Um,
Okay, I'm back.
gosh. Okay, good.
What are you trying to figure out?
I was just telling people who I was and where I used to go and research. And now I'm in Texas, but I'm about 2 hours away from anywhere that's squatchy, so I have to get out and drive to get anywhere. So, what does he say, Nikki? What's your thoughts on Mount Shasta? Are you referring to the one where they pulled out a Bigfoot from the helicopter? Is that the one you're thinking of? I wonder.
All right, Fred, I sent you the link to your phone. Yeah, Zach left earlier because he got scared. He thought he was going to get it heated earlier. I said it was just a discussion. I said, uh,
I don't think UFOs and Bigfoot are related. I do believe in UFOs and I do believe in Bigfoot, but I don't think they go together. That's my opinion on that. And as far as the whole spirit and they can transform and be go into trees and crap like that, I don't believe in that either. However, I do believe in spirits and ghosts and entities and stuff because I've had my own experience with that.
yeah,
That made me a believer. I didn't believe until stuff happened to me. So now I'm a believer on that. But I think all these different things are all completely different. They're all different. If they happen to happen near the same things, fine. But just like
all right. He wants me to answer my
different
phone, but
things.
it's not ringing. But even though nobody will be able to hear him through the phone, not my phone.
Oh,
I
they
don't
could
understand.
completely study Bigfoot. Why wouldn't UFOs want to study Bigfoot? I That's fine. I wouldn't have an opinion either way on that because I'm not a UFO. Um, well,
Yeah,
that would explain people seeing UFOs abducting Bigfoots if they're coming down here and they can find them right away. You know,
yeah,
Hey, there's all kinds of stories about Bigfoot being prisoners and being dropped off in this earth because that's their prison, and there's all kinds of stuff out there, all kinds of stories.
yeah. Fred, I sent the link to your messenger, and I also I posted in the group chat right here too for you. If that
I
does
gotta
anything.
I gotta get off in about 10 minutes, just so you
Yeah.
know. I gotta go check homework.
Hold on, I think Fred's trying to get back on through his phone. What in the world
What?
is is it dialing? My phone. It's not nothing happening on my phone. That's Google Hangouts. It should be Google Hangouts. Hit the camera. Hit the camera button. See what happens. Because my phone, I got the live chat opened up on my phone. Maybe it's trying to connect.
Huh.
Now as I hear it ringing. Hold on. Hold on. Connie joined. All right. Hey, there's Connie. Hold on, Connie's on my phone, Fred. But that's FaceTime. Hold on. I still see you and hear you. Uh oh. I think it froze up. Connie's camera is off. Wait a minute. I'm hearing something through my headset. maybe that was Nikki I was hearing. I don't know.
Oh, can you hear me now?
All right. He said the battery's low.
Oh,
So
I don't know who keeps
whoops.
dinging me. It's the
Oh,
messenger with Brian,
yeah.
Daniel, Connie, Zach, everybody on there.
Oh, she called me through the group, the Facebook
Yeah,
chat. I was
yeah.
wondering why that was coming through. You were supposed to hit the Google Hangout link.
Hangout button. Yeah,
Yeah, because that's the Facebook group chat.
yeah. That's what's happening. He needs to go through the Hangouts.
Yeah, his phone's dead, so he would have to plug it up to get it back on. But well, he said, "Hold on 1 second." Now we just doing dirty gestures towards us.
I don't know.
Something about he wants to bang Connie. I don't know.
Oh my god. Stupid. Oh
TMI,
god.
TMI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Oh
Lord.
god. Now I'm not gonna be able to sleep. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh well.
yeah. Well, Fred, it is getting to be 10 o'clock. We've been on for about a good 10 hours. I mean, 2 hours. Um, yeah, a lot of people are already dropping off the live chat. Um, so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in. Please feel free, if you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon next to the word subscribe, so you can stay on top of our shows and anytime we go live or if there's a field video upload. Um, Also, feel free to go through the playlist on my YouTube channel here at Bigfoot Zone, the ECBRO YouTube channel. Um, if you have not done so, check out the website. We got a new website. It is under construction, ecbro.org. And check out our annual ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference website, which is the virginiabigfootcon.com. And we're planning our 2019 second annual event here in Virginia. Uh, our first year was a huge success, and we're looking to turn year two into a bigger success. So June 29th and June 30th. Save those dates to be on out there. There will be Bigfoot expeditions, campouts, and a whole lot more for the family. There'll be entertainment, there'll be education, and a little bit of everything for everybody, for all walks of life, as we did this previous year. So we want you to come on out and be a part of that. We do have a Facebook page. We have the ECBRO annual Virginia Bigfoot Con page. So give us a like, share it around. Um, and there's also ECBRO pages. There's ECBRO Facebook groups. And Nikki Cologne here has a Facebook page as well. Her group is called Bigfoot Weekly. So be sure to check
Yep.
out Nikki
Yep.
Cologne's Facebook group page.
Thank you.
So, all right, you're very welcome. And it's great to have you on, Nikki. And I know Fred's scrambling around to try to get back on here. So,
Good night, Fred.
yeah, everyone's saying good night. Everyone's jumping off here. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. We will be back at a later date with a new one. So, and also if you're on Facebook with us, Fred goes Facebook Live almost every day throughout the day. You'll see. Yeah, I think he's getting ready to do a Facebook Live here very shortly. So there you go. So go tune in to Fred, check him out. And then sometimes on occasions I've been doing some Facebook Lives, not recently, but I try to do a few short ones here and there. So, um, Harold Denton said, "Poor Fred." He messaged me and said that.
Yeah.
So Bobcat Wong said, "Kiss the camera, Fred." So,
Oh man.
well, I'm glad you guys come on. We'd like to have fun on here, man. We try to keep it real with an open mind, and throw a little fun in there. So, meanwhile, you guys have a good night. God bless, and keep it squatchy.